Yes, hello everyone and good afternoon. I hope you had a great lunchtime and sana okay yung day niyo so far. But before I start, thanks again for MAAP for inviting me in this uh, quick talk about type or what I love doing. And I just wanna say that I'm honored to be here and then sharing my knowledge to different practitioners, students, and other creatives alike. So, ayun. So I hope I make most of your time today because I know it's a Saturday. We've all been through a tough week, I'm sure, a rough week. And I will try my best to make the most out of your time. So, all right. So, ayun, again, I'm Gian. I'm a graphic designer by profession, an occasional illustrator, and a type artist by heart. So I really love creating type-based work and lettering. So just wanted to share like how I came to be in this world of typography and letters. So around 2015, I don't know kung nasan kayo nun, pero for me, back in 2015, I was graduating from Mapua as a multimedia art student. And that time was parang doon nag-boom yung return of calligraphy, hand calligraphy, and lettering. So like a lot of creatives and artists were doing it. And a lot talaga prospered on that parang um, category. So I was very experimental then kasi I really didn't know what to focus on as a multimedia arts student. I knew I was into graphic design, but I didn't know how I would stand out, of course, in a very saturated industry as well. So with that, parang joined the bandwagon. I tried doing lettering stuff, and parang with that, it introduced me to the beauty of letters and how you could communicate through um, parang type, but also challenging in different standards, challenging and pushing legibility. It's not just a font. How can you create something more beautiful in just like using letters and not so much imagery and colors. So parang because of that, parang nagtuloy-tuloy na parang type and lettering just became already my craft. So parang it was really something I've been doing like for a while now. I venture on different um, kumbaga design categories like branding, print, packaging, editorial, and merch design. But it still comes down to lettering. So parang that's what I really wanted to push. Parang use letters and communicate a message in a simple but creative way pa rin. So how I've been doing that? Um, that's that led me to parang create a body of work that I recognize as really something that is me. I like colors. I like letters, um, and really dynamic and fun compositions. So now we go into how I do it, like how I've been doing stuff, how I've been seeing on different designers and creatives turn words into images, in communicating something more than just what is written in an artwork. So yeah, let's dive right into it. But before we start, I'll give you an intro. What will you get out of this talk? There are three parts. First part is how can you start a type project. Second is how do you actually tell a story through type. And lastly, simple and starter tips to make your type game on point. But to be more specific, there are three I's um, that you would be getting out of this talk. It's inspired ideas, impactful projects, and an improved view of letters and type. So, ayun. Hopefully, I get to do all of that after the talk. So yeah, let's start. How do you start a type project? So usually I get this question from my previous talks before, and I'm sure some of you also have been getting this question from different people around you, your friends, family. And where do you get your ideas and inspiration? And I think the most generic answer would be everywhere. Like just go out, go outside. You'll find something to be an inspiration of. You'll get to be inspired on something um, everywhere you look around. But I think for me, it's not always everywhere. Um, I do believe that inspiration is a continuous active pursuit. You look for it. You don't wait for it to come to you, or like you don't wait for it to see it. Like it's not dahil lumabas ka lang may makita ka na ganyan na. Parang you don't really pursue it. You just let it come to you. Parang I think inspiration is comes when you really try to look for it. Um, for example, me personally, when I feel the creative block, I like shopping sa grocery because there are a lot of design practices in grocery. So you have packaging, yung mga label designs, wayfinding design, like finding your way through the grocery mall, signages, and environment design. So there's a lot to see kasi, and that parang when I have a creative block, that's where I go. Then parang sinasabay ko sa groceries, ganyan. I guess there's a lot of inspiration that you could get. Another one is I actually go through Pinterest or Behance and look for what I want to see. Um, that's when I need something more specific to what I'm looking for. But it doesn't have to be always. For example, you're gonna do a poster design. You're gonna look for poster design inspirations. Doesn't have to be that way. Sometimes I look through mga streetwear brands. How are they designing right now? Um, and there's a lot of inspiration you could get from that. So um, it is around you, but inspiration only comes when you really um, look for it or pursue it, and you don't wait for it to come to you. Because what if it never does? Or what if right now, pandemic, di ka makakalabas, may inspire ka lang dun sa mga bagay na nasa bahay mo. It won't really work, and it might hamper pa your productive um, process. So yeah, one thing I'd like to do as well is if I want to really challenge myself na to make something is to break it down into a brief, because when you break it down, you're parang canceling out other parang options, and then you don't allow yourself to overthink too much if this is the right style, if this is the right inspiration. When you break it down, you could just use this for parang parameters, create what you want, and then make it look like something. Could be anything, style and inspiration from different visual output, and then add a little something to it, so a touch of something, so that you could mix it up a bit, and it becomes much more unique and much more interesting. And then, of course, add a deadline, because if not, yun nga, it's a factor that will help you not finish your work. And what they're pushing talaga when you want to create a type project is progress, not perfection, or you want it to be finished, not perfect. So it's important to give yourself a deadline. So I wanted to share an example of one of my works using that brief. So I wanted to create a sticker set before, because I was doing or I was setting up a booth in a convention. If you know StickerCon, so it's a convention where all artists sell stickers, and one of my products I wanted to sell were astrology stickers, and I didn't know what to do or how to do it na papatok or bibilin talaga ng tao, because there's a lot of creatives who were selling parang astrology stickers as well. So parang I wanted to mix in nga something that looks like mosaic tiles. yung French or I mean Italian mosaic tiles na very classic, seen in Europe mostly, and then mix that with something very cosmic, um, and parang galaxy stars kasi ng astrology. So I came up with parang these stickers. Yun nga, mixing yung parang mosaic effect and then introducing yung cosmic feeling with the holographic detail, and then yung mga star signs or parang I parang used type that makes them look very godlike or parang mythological, heavenly, ganyan yung dating. Because I wanted to mix nga, yun nga, the classic and the cosmic. So parang there are two different things that I put together, and I think it went out really well. People bought some, so I think it was a fairly successful type project that I did. So that's why I'm sharing it today. Yeah. Another project was one of my, or actually my first 36 days of type project. If you don't know what 36 days of type is, it's an online call for creatives to design the alphabet and the numbers in the most creative way possible, or how they see it, how they see the alphabet and all. And they let you post on Instagram, and then you can get featured. So parang ganun siya. So one of or my first project, I wanted to create something that looks like jeepney lettering. So it's very culturally relevant sa Philippines, diba? It's something unique to us. But at the same time, I wanted to add a little something that I think would fit that style, para hindi lang siya, you innovate on a style. I wanted to include Memphis design, which is a very retro or 80s to 90s na design style introduced in the architectural group, the Memphis group. So ganyan yung parang effect niya. There's squiggles, bright colors, lots of repeating lines and patterns. Ganyan yung Memphis. So I wanted to combine those two. So I came up with something like this. The letter forms were very jeepney lettering style, and then introducing the Memphis subtly on the background, since I wanted only a touch of that. So parang naging ganyan yung result. Here's a poster version of that. Yeah. All right. So ayun, that's what I do. I break it down in brief, try to really actively look for inspiration. But if that still doesn't work and let you start a type project talaga, when all else fails, stick with what you love, not what you know. Kasi yun eh, kapag what you know, parang ang mangyayari dyan, you'll always stick with the fundamentals, the academics behind it, or the hard knowledge and factual information behind what you know. But if you stick with what you love, you'll feel there's there's a delight in doing something. Siguro to explain that further, here are photos of my dog and me. So really love dogs. I'm a dog lover. So parang dun lang, parang okay, I love dogs. So what can I do? So I merged that. I love dogs. I love type. So I created other set of stickers naman as well na about dogs. And then the challenge for me was, how do I include type into it? Because normally dun sa mga ibang creatives, they would just create these very, very cute dog stickers. But I wanted to do something a little bit, and parang wala pa akong nakita parang type-based siya. So I wanted to add that, yung mga very cute quotes that match these dogs. So parang, for example, a Chihuahua, tas dream big yung kanya. And then a German Shepherd na may loyalty, loyalty, loyalty. So parang, yun nga, parang in merging yung mga words of wisdom into cute images of these dogs. Ayan. So also sold Visa stickers in one of the conventions I've attended. So ayun. All right. And then next, I'm sure this pandemic, since we're all holed up in our homes, parang I'm sure one way or another, you tried to parang spruce up your space, and nagpabudol sa homebodies or what. You try to decorate. Parang never naman natin ito ginagawa before, I'm sure. But then suddenly, a lot of people have been buying stuff that, to make our homes feel more cozier, more, kumbaga, uh, a safer haven for us. Na we could get to relax and feel secured with everything that's happening around the world. So parang with that, I knew I loved decorating pala, and parang organizing my stuff or rearranging furniture. So parang last year, I couldn't count how many times I rearranged furniture. Like last year or 2 years ago pa to, but dumaan na sa maraming itsura, but still colorful, because that's my brand, that's my personality. I wanted stuff colorful. So with that ano lang, parang love for color, you already stay true to yourself, and then you create something out of it. So because of this, I was tapped by a home retail shop, local siya, and then I was tapped to create um, para yung mga home items, like throw pillows, rugs, uh, throws, posters, ganyan, um, that they would sell. So I designed them, and of course, I didn't want to um, be generic na create designs that were very commercial na for example, pang Pottery Barn, West Elm, um, or IKEA na generic looking na you could really buy it anywhere. So I wanted the pieces that really look like artworks and really colorful, because I've personally wala akong masyado makita rin. It was hard for me to find colorful decor items. So parang this an opportunity for me to create um, based from something that I love. So ayun, really colorful home items. So yun, basically if you just stick with the things you love, I'm sure it will translate dun sa work mo, that you really have a passion for this, or that this is really what you like doing. So yeah, that's one tip. I guess yun, that ends yung part one, which is how you could start a type project. And I hope with those parang tips, it could really help you ideate your projects regarding type, or you actually even other design work. That have been my process, and I hope it could help you out if you plan to start a type project soon. So we go to the next part, which is telling a story through type. So one of my kumbaga heroes in especially in design and typography was Gemma O'Brien. She said that when typography is on point, words become images. So when you delve into the world of type, parang you'll see more than just the letters and the fonts. Parang a lot of people would see fonts as this just very legible um, design system to communicate a message. But when you start employing typography techniques like arranging them in different ways, making one word bigger than the other, extending the length of the overall word, or even um, putting the words closer together, much tighter, or even putting them apart in the space. It really tells a different story for each technique. And when you do that, when you employ those techniques, um, these new words start to become images na, and they start to tell a story or your story. So when you're able to tell a story, a message beyond what is written, you that's when you start communicating um, a much clearer um, message, and you start creating impact to a person. Parang um, different naman per person eh. Pero sometimes when you push that talaga, when you push the arrangement of letters and words, and you really think about how you present type, sometimes the impact with us or for different people stays, or parang there's something that is picked or struck inside our hearts, or yung parang feelings natin. And that's when you start creating impact dun sa person na tumitingin dun sa ginawa mong design or artwork. So as examples, parang here, these are some of the, I pulled these from some of the designers I've been following on Instagram. One is here from Kisha de la Cruz, your New Year New Voter. This was actually initiative from Joanna Malinis to create parang a series of posters saying New Year New Voter, and then asking people to have their own spin on it. So parang yun. And if you can see here, very strong yung use of fingerprint. Kasi di ba yun yung parang a sign that you voted. And it really pushes parang the idea that it's a new year. There's only a year left until the next elections, and you have to vote. So yun. And then another one is from Lebasis, a very kumbaga vocal LGBT designer. And ayun, gumawa siya ng parang born this way. And parang, di ba, if you're like him, or if you're this person who he is describing, I'm sure parang there's a feeling na mafe-feel mo with this type of work. And then yung last from Color Lab, yan yung yakap. It was made for parang since there were calamities that have been happening, and just seeing it yung parang very warm feeling, and then employing of the parang wrap around arms, and then yung heart, di ba, parang it really tells a story. But actually, diba, kung tinype mo lang yan in a font na yakap, it could have told you the message, but parang did it make you feel something? So if you parang arrange it in a way or design it in such a way that you could push the story further or your message further, I'm sure it will be much more effective, and it will make the viewers feel a bit more something. Ayun. So with that, parang you'll know that typography talaga is a graphic designer's strongest communication device. This is very true because if you think about it, you don't have to use images, as much detailed imagery, figures of people, of different subjects. You just have to use text, letters. You don't even have to use color if you may. So parang yun lang, dahil doon parang you realize that it's really strong, and with just putting together text and type, you'll be able to communicate something. So ayun. So as example, if you don't believe this statement yet, as an example, like this week lang si Lenny Robredo announcing that she will be running for president. And in just a few hours, a lot of the people I've been following on Instagram have shared these parang posts telling about their support and their parang belief of Lenny as candidate in the presidential elections next year. So very fast, they were able to whip this up because if you think about it, they just pulled from what Lenny has been saying in her speeches, or what have been the hashtags na go around. So using this and then creating an artwork really fast, parang it becomes really strong. And um, since it's uh, just a type, parang when you see it, um, you already communicate something, or like the designer has already communicated something to you. That's why I really think that type um, can be really powerful, and if you use it right, you use it in a way that you want to tell your message. It's really strong, and it's really something that could create an impact in someone's uh, simple, for example, day-to-day life. All right. So up next, typography also works if there's a deep understanding of letter forms. So it's not just about arranging yung words and all and how you present it. Um, you could actually create better typography if you understand how each letter is read, or like what makes a letter that letter. Parang ano ba yung unique sa kanya? Ano ba yung kailangan sa kanya so that I could read this as a letter T, as a letter S, ganyan. Ano ba yung mga characteristics that define it as this letter? And if you understand that, um, you'll get to play with it more, I'm sure. And then here are some examples. So The Missing Eight by Dan Matutina. Like if you see or check out the letters there, it's based from the numbers 1 to 8. But since there's an understanding of how the letters look like, he was able to form it in such a way in the it reads as missing. Another one from Poke Santos naman. See, it's very, very stylized. Some people might find it hard to read this one, but if you have like general knowledge of what makes a letter this letter, I'm sure you'll understand what she's trying to say or what's the message here. And then on the right as well, we don't usually read fonts like this or write like this, but if you look at it, it actually parang spells yung word na good, diba? So yun, if you really try to look at each letter and find out how it looks like talaga and try to deconstruct it and how do you present it in a way that it still reads the same, you'll be able to create much more interesting type works. All right. So I guess that caps off the second part, which is how you tell a story through type. You could tell it by arranging the words intentionally on how you wanted to convey your message, or you could play with the letter forms and all. Um, just be sure that what you're trying to tell is the mess is how you portray it with your type, so that even though it's pinare kung ano man yung ginawa mong um, statement, it's consistent with the visual kasi we don't want to parang um, opposing siya or polarizing with the visual look. Although some people do this as an exercise or um, as a parang style or design technique to create an opposing parang feeling of this is what you're trying to say, but it looks um, like this. So parang ganon. yeah. So for the last part, I wanted to share like how do you add like a little razzle dazzle in your type work, because I'm not sure if everyone here is into type, but if not, I'm sure you've delved into using fonts as one of your or typefaces as one of your main elements in an artwork or a design. And I'll share some few tips how you could push the envelope further. One would be deconstructing your fonts. Actually, you could play with the shapes and break it down, and parang find out how you could um, parang mimic yung shape, but doesn't have to be super rigid or formal like yung mga very clean fonts. Find out how you can create shapes out of it and still convey the same letter. Next, mismatch fonts. You can actually do this. There's a parang way to do it wherein you have to make sure lang na the fonts have at least one or two attributes na same. Like on the left, consistent yung curved accents. On the right, mas consistent yung parang very sharp and angled na accent. So that's pretty much the same like how you um match mga color palettes, di ba? Or even furniture at your home. Para mag-match sila, kailangan may konting similarities. They don't have to be super in the same combination kasi kapag ganun, it parang lacks interest. But if you're able to combine parang different fonts, different styles, it appears a much more interesting visual output. So you could do that, definitely do that. Next, you could add some dimension. So to create your work much more impactful or parang very stand out, you could add a bit of dimension so that you extend yung focus talaga dun sa typeset mo. And then it becomes so much more dynamic because it gives off the feeling that the type goes up, ganyan. So para siyang expand and parang nagka-depth talaga siya. Next, modify and distort. So yun nga, letters don't have to be very perfect and geometric and all parang matchy-matchy. You could modify it, curve them in different ways that looks very fluid, ganyan, and still very looks parang kumbaga playful and how you want it to look like. You could really do that. And with that, parang you go outside na talaga of what type is or what font is because you start to experiment on different flows and shapes and different sizes. So yun, feel free to modify and distort your parang text or type. And then lastly, if you want to do yung mga script style, you could actually do it with a mouse. Just use the round brush from Illustrator. On the one on the right, I made that using just a mouse. So you just have to parang repeat yung mga letters until you get it right. But you could actually do it with just the round brush. So that's one thing you could do if you want to parang try a bit a more handwritten, organic approach naman to your works. Ayun, so those are some of my tips, and just to cap off some final thoughts as well. Typography is like learning to play basketball, di ba? Anyone can play basketball. I'm sure we were all taught no high school or no college how to play basketball, the rules and all, and yung mga techniques. But each one of us have varying levels of success with it. Not all is good. Merong super galing, merong Hindi talaga, but they know the rules. They know how it works, how it plays. That's typography. Um, you're able to know um, yung rules like leading, kerning, tracking, hierarchy, contrast, and all that. But not all of us will have like the eye for arranging them in such a way that it communicates a much more interesting output. Um, so yun nga, if you wanted to brush up on um, your parang skills on it, I suggest you create more type projects. Try to find more inspiration, understand letters, and look at them so that you could create much more beautiful and kumbaga stunning artworks that is type based. So ayun, like playing basketball, there are rules and all, diba? Pero we're always amazed whenever a player does something na unexpected or a trick na sila yung nagpauso. So that's the same thing in typography. Like there are all these rules, but you could always create something surprising. But ultimately, an inspired work is one that applies the key principles and goes outside the box. So, yun, as I've mentioned, feel free to break out from the standards, the norms, and just really explore and experiment how typography can work or letters can work. Years ago, there hasn't been parang ganitong exploration of type, at least in our local creative industry. But right now, looking at it, di ba, parang there have been various styles na lumitaw and napagdaanan. So it continues to grow, and I suggest that if you want to pursue this, keep experimenting and exploring with us creatives who are into typography. So we keep pushing talaga yung um, and challenging the legibility and yung mga styles na lumilitaw in typography. Ayun. Up next, overall, there is no step-by-step formula to creating stunning and effective type work. Um, it always boils down in your own creative process. We have our own process that works for us. I can't parang push what I do, but I can parang suggest it because it has worked for me. But it's in your process talaga where you find inspiration. And if you have something of your own, I suggest you stick with it. And if you want to innovate it, just ask for different creatives who have their own formula or process, and then you could parang merge those and try out different steps in your process. Ayun, so interests, experiences, opinions, and beliefs are enough to create an inspired process. So, yun, you don't have to go outside talaga and um, wait for inspiration to come to you, or just look around, nandyan talaga yung, when you look around, wherever you are, nandyan yung inspiration. Sometimes when you look for it deep within you, like, what do you like? What have been your experiences in life? What are your opinions? What are your beliefs? Um, when you look at that, sometimes that's already enough to create something, and then to create an inspired process because it's based on yourself or what you've been defining yourself with. So, yun. So don't look any further. Sometimes it's just within you. Or if you really want to look for it, make sure you have the intention for it and you really pursue it actively. Yeah, and that's it. I think that caps off everything. I hope you've learned a lot and you really got a good introduction of type and its power and how you could explore different ways to amp up your work. So I'm leaving you with just a project, which I don't know. Maybe some of you wanted to create do an exercise after this talk. I hope I inspired you or something. But If you're into something, maybe you could take a screenshot of this and you may create a type poster for your presidential bet this coming 2022 elections. And I want you to create something that looks like breakfast cereal type or yung box, di ba? Ng breakfast cereal na very big yung product name and all. Tapos, but the challenge here would be how can you add a touch of psychedelic design? Ayun. So if you want to do a quick project on type, this is a prompt I'm gonna leave here for you all. It's due anytime, and feel free to share that with me on my Instagram. You may tag me or just send me a DM, and if you want to get feedback, I am very much open to providing that. So ayun. Thanks again for your time. You may stalk me sa IG, it's at Giancarlo Wong, Facebook at Design by Gian, and I have a website that's gianwong.com if you want to check out my works, case studies, and kung ano yung mga learnings and challenges from those projects. That's it. Thank you. Thank you again for coming, and I hope you've learned a lot.
Right.
Yan.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Gian. Grabe yung na-share mo.
Thank you, sir.
Ang dami. Very parang napaka-creative and super we've learned a lot from this talk. For those who are here, you have any questions, maybe you can type it here so that Gian can ask or answer some of it. Okay, yeah. So we have Nathaniel Truzo. What software do you recommend for us to create amazing art images?
For me, I would personally, I would recommend Adobe Illustrator because if you're creating typeworks, mas madali to create the letter forms there because the pen tool is much more easier to handle versus other platforms like Photoshop. So if you want to create mga typographic works, Illustrator is a good starting point.
Okay.
Thank you for asking.
Any other questions from our participants? Meron pa ba? Siguro ako na lang, Gian. Yeah.
Go sir.
What inspires you right now? As an artist, how do you deal with, art blocks, yung mga ganon, yung mga generic question.
Okay.
How do you deal?
So, well, right now kasi it's really a tough time. So gets parang I right now, compared dun sa before, I'm more open to welcoming creative block. For me, kasi before parang pre-pandemic times, nasa-stress ako pag may creative block kasi parang baka di ako makaproduce ng something nice or di ako makapag-share ng new work for a while. And parang before, what I would do was really push myself. Parang what's something that I can do? Kasi yun nga, what I do on the side is different from my actual day job. So in a way, it's a way to blow off steam, to make me exercise yung creative juices ko. So I really push myself to look for something, whether look for yung mga I look at streetwear brands, mga new stuff on Behance. I watch movies, go to the groceries. I do that. Yun yung before na usually ginagawa ko. Pero this time around, since it's pandemic, I welcome creative block na. Parang I let it be kasi it's a tough time. So the priority right now is more of into health. So if wala akong ma-produce, parang I just let it sit for a while. Kasi parang it's not the most important thing right now talaga. And parang I take a break. Baka kasi dahil I'm having a creative block because I'm having anxiety or I need to take a break. And then I just take that little break and then afterwards I push myself again to get inspiration. So, ayun.
That's right. Very, very good. Good point.
Thank you, sir.
Magsi Magbano is asking, working with clients, how do you collaborate with them? How do you manage their expectation while pushing forth your ideas?
Okay. That's really nice. Thanks for that nice question. Siguro I guess it comes to your parang branding. That's why I keep talaga yung work ko na looking like what projects I wanted to get. So that I attract those brands now who want my style. Kasi um, your portfolio kasi should be a combination of two things. It's the work that you love doing, and the work that you want to try doing more of. Um, and if you push that parang parameters in your portfolio, you'll get to funnel through yung brands and clients that you get to work with kasi they'll see na, ito yung ginagawa niya, so siya expert dito. So I'll get him for this, I'll get her for this project kasi ginagawa niya for a while and I'm sure magagawa niya itong gusto ko. And then if you push more yung mga gusto mong gawin, I suggest, since gusto mo pa lang siyang gawin and I'm sure wala ka pang masyadong projects around it, try to create mga passion projects, self-initiated ones, so that you could fill your portfolio with it. And I think basta be true to your brand or to what you wanted to um, push out there and get work na ganong style. Make sure you create your standards, your process, um, and then share that with the client. And then usually ako, kapag kunyari, I've dealt with some clients na sa start, they will reach out and then in the end, hindi matutuloy kasi I would find out na yung style that they wanted was not something that I like doing or I've been doing for a while, because that will affect my confidence level in doing something. Like, I'm a general graphic design practitioner, but um, I am focusing on typography. So I feel like I would work best if I was given a typography work with a little bit of color at least. But I'm sure I give my best and create a really standout work versus parang tanggapin ko lang just for the parang bayad and the money, kahit alam ko naman hindi ako magaling dito. I mean, this is coming from a privileged point of view. Kasi yun nga, I get to segregate or curate yung mga clients. So, ayun na nga. With that, parang it's nice kasi na you really tell what you do or what you like doing, and it's important to parang communicate that sa start pa lang para you get to save your time din as well. And make sure you communicate what you want, and if you wanted to push for it even though hindi mo siya ginagawa, just make sure you commit to it and then you deliver, and then para at least, di ba, ma-protect mo yung quality ng ginagawa mo, and then ma-refer ka pa ng mga clients mo. So yun, I hope I answered the question. Yeah.
Thanks so much for that question. Shout out pala from fourth year students of STI College Tacurong and Coronadal, all the way from Coronadal. Is that in Cotabato? Wow. Thanks so much, Sir Gian Wong and MMAAP. Yeah, thank you daw. Another question: when did you realize your identity, your branding, and what made you realize to stick with that brand?
Okay, I guess it took me a while to find out yung parang pinaka-brand ko, because yun nga, nung college I was very experimental. I was trying out vector illustrations, digital painting, I tried lettering, even 3D production ng mga type ko. I was producing them in 3D as well. So parang I was very experimental and I didn't know really what to push. But then yun nga, parang as I was creating a lot of projects, parang doon ko na-realize na it was something that I like na. Nung I've been doing it ng paulit-ulit. Like, na-realize ko, colorful na lahat ng ginagawa ko. So, parang, I felt na it was right for me. Kasi, well, di ako nagsawa. Di pa rin ako nagsasawa now. I still like what I'm doing, what I'm exploring. Parang, I guess, magkiklik lang talaga siya when you try out talaga these different avenues and different design categories or styles. Just keep trying out, just keep creating personal projects so that you could find that parang pinaka-center mo. And then you'll realize na, ito talaga yung brand ko. May realize mo, magkiklik na lang talaga siya kapag na-feel mong you're happy with it. You're happy to do it 1,000 times over. So I guess that's it. That's when I realized na okay pala. And that's my brand. Ayun. So thank you for your question.
Thanks for that, no? And ever since naman talaga, like yung what I said kanina, talented na tong si Gian eh. Like ever since when he was a student, he would do a lot of like stuff na parang excellent talaga. That's what I noticed with your works, no? Yeah. And yung colorful style mo and brand, that's you eh. Tama ba ako? Parang it makes you happy. And you know what? It's effective. Super effective niya, no? Kasi parang it's parang ano pa rin ngayon, kumbaga fresh pa rin up until now. Parang alam mo yun, pag tiningnan mo siya, it's still parang in demand, parang gano'n yung style. So I really like it, you know.
Thank you.
Ayan. So any other last question? It's already 2:05. We'll get our last question kay Gian. Any other question, guys? Meron ba sa Facebook page? I think wala yata sa Facebook page. All right. So I think ano na lang, no? So message na lang for like inspiring artists, multimedia artists, like the students who are listening right now. What can you tell them? And last parang parting words with them.
Ayun, dun sa mga aspiring students here who want to parang go into typography or at least parang find their centers or brand as they enter the cutthroat creative industry, just as early as now, like, well, this worked for me. I'm not sure if it would work for everyone, but like before graduating, start building your portfolio talaga. Don't rely on your academic projects, academic output or plates. Create your own. Find briefs or create your own briefs, and kumbaga para as early as now ma-explore nyo na ano ba yung brand nyo, so that when you go out and apply to different jobs, you really have an extensive portfolio and a portfolio na very polished and that has a personality and very unique to you, because when it's unique to you, I'm sure you'll stand out sa mga employers, ganyan. So I really suggest to work on your parang finding yourself or finding out what you want to do. Just keep creating. But then again, it's a pandemic, so learn to take break. You don't have to push yourself always. Welcome creative art block, but at the end of the day, if you want to get inspired, just keep pursuing that, and I guess parang you'll make it naman. And I'm excited to see what this new generation of parang creatives who parang came from this era talaga in time will share and parang contribute in our industry right now. Ayun. So yeah, good luck to everyone.
Yun. Thank you so much, Gian. By the way, you can contact Gian, no? What's your Facebook or ano ba? Like your website?
Instagram.
Can you also it's can you tell us the links or the
sure
URL?
So for Instagram, my handle is at Giancarlo Wong. Facebook, it's at Design by Gian. Then website is gianwong.com.
Yun. So probably you can ask him kasi kanina nagpagawa ng assignment si Sir Gian regarding design with your presidential bot. Ayan. So again, thanks so much, Gian, for being here and giving your words of wisdom and a lot of parang tips and techniques then at the same time in being creative and doing type and typography. Very, very
Yes.
insightful. Shout out lang kay the people from Cainta. Tama ba? Fourth year multimedia arts of Ortigas, Cainta. Thank you, Dao, for your creative ideas and knowledge. Thanks you, Sir Gian,
You're
for
welcome po.
inspiring us to create something more better and develop learnings and skills. Yes. Thanks so much for being here as well, Nathaniel.
Yes.
All right. Again, thanks, Gian Wong. Again, please follow him and also follow our page, everyone. This is Multimedia Arts Association of the Philippines, or MAAP. Again, this is Melvin. And again, thank you so much for being here. And that's it. For see you next time for our MAAP talks. And we are signing off. Thanks, everyone.